Jon Moxley drives 11 hours to get impaled on spikes. WWE are making efforts to get Sting at the 2025 Hall of Fame, and a WWE star has been booked for a major indie show. It's time for the news. So on last night's Dynamite, Jon Moxley defending his AEW World Championship once again against Cope. This time in a street fight following their stinker of a match at Revolution, something that was really criticised. So they wanted to do it all again, and they did it in some style indeed. Cope attacking Moxley backstage, kick-starting the match. They brawl all over the shop. And then in one brutal highlight, should we call it?
I guess so, yeah.
Cope suplexing Moxley onto the spikes, the spiked spikes. And then the referee taking absolutely ages. It was fully... He pierced his back on a spike.
It was so brutal because Wheeler Yuta comes in, he gets involved a little bit. He tries to take Spike out of Moxley's back and can't do it. And then he's like, referee, can you do it instead, please? And like some of the camera shots, they are wedged in there. And when he pulls his skin, I was saying to Owen, it looks like one of those, those fake tongues that you can just like pull. Yeah. It looked like that. It was horrible.
It's one of the most brutal spots AEW have done. You know what? I'm really glad they redid the match because it did make up for a disappointing conclusion to Revolution. This is the end of the line for Cope and Mox. This is all done now. Mox's next defense, of course, against Swerve.
Yes.
A Dynasty coming up soon. The craziest thing about this is that Jon Moxley, as the title says, he had some airline issues and he actually just had to drive 11 hours. It's like Tony might have gone like, oh, okay, don't worry, that's a long drive for you and everything. Somebody else can take it. No,
it's all good. I've got to get suplexed on these spikes off, Tony. Come on now.
The Death Rider stuff has been tedious for a lot of people. A lot of people have considered it not the best storyline in AEW history. But I will say, like, Moxley... He gives it his all. He really like the reason that he's in the position that he's in is because he's like AEW's ace. He's always there for the company and he's willing to put his body on the line. We very much saw that last night. Hey, it's for the sickos and by the sickos too.
Yeah, it is. No, absolutely.
I really enjoyed it, and I think it was a nice blow off to the feud, which hasn't been great, but hopefully people will remember this match more than the pay-per-view match. So as I say, Jon Moxley's next title defense will be against Swerve Strickland in a few weeks. But one man who has been long considered to be a potential Death Rider toppler is Eddie Kingston. And it looks like we might not have to wait too long for Eddie Kingston to be back. He has been chatting away with Mike Johnson at PW Insider.
Yes, he said, I just effed it. Oh, this is about as well. He gave an update on his health and he was talking about his stomach as well. He's had stomach issues recently and he goes on to talk about this. He just says, I just effed it up from stress and got meds for it, Kingston said. It's getting better and better every day. You can quote me here. I was stressed out about dumb SH1T I can't control. So I effed up my stomach being an a-hole. But I'm trying to get better and I will get better. As of late, I've been up and down and up and down. It's a normal day for me. I just don't have certain things that I used to get my aggression out. This has been the longest I've ever been from my lady pro wrestling. This is as honest as I can be, Mike.
So the expectation is, according to this report, that Kingston will be cleared to return to the ring by this summer. So it's not too long to wait at all. He's not wrestled since May of last year, where he dropped the New Japan Strong Openweight title to Gabe Kidd at Resurgence, where he hurt himself, of course.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for him to come back. Like him and Mox working together, fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
And I really want it to be him. No disrespect to Swerve or any of the other countless opponents that Moxley has defended that gold against. I've always wanted it to be Kingston. I'm really excited.
I would love for it to be Kingston so much. I feel like the storyline sort of built towards it potentially being Darby, but the longer we get without Darby being in the company, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe it would be nice for it to be Eddie Kingston. But with Gabe Kidd sort of knocking about in AEW now and calling everyone rubbish and the company rubbish, I have a feeling that when Kingston comes back, we could potentially get something between them.
Yeah? Before or after he goes for Mox?
Before.
You reckon before?
Yeah, I think so.
I reckon he comes back and goes straight for it. I'd much prefer Kingston than Darby, personally.
I think I would as well, to be honest.
I actually think that there'll be a bit of disappointment from certain sections of the AEW fan base and the wrestling internet community, whatever you want to call them as a whole, if Darby's the one to do it. I'd like Darby to be a world champion in future. I didn't want it originally, but I think he weighs a nutter, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
It'd be fun to watch. Anyway, WWE are said to be making efforts to get Sting at the Hall of Fame, according to Fightful Select. Lex Luger informing WWE that Sting was his top choice to induct him into the Hall of Fame, and WWE are making efforts to bring the Stinger in for the ceremony. I mean, there's no better man to induct Lex Luger than Sting. It's got to be. Sting remains under an AEW Legends style deal. Obviously, he's not wrestling anymore, and it's unclear whether AEW would need to sign off on him appearing on WWE programming. My assumption is that they would. I don't think you necessarily keep somebody on a deal like that if they can just go and do stuff for other companies. Yeah. Previously, I mean, there's been a sort of precedent set with this sort of thing because Tony Khan has allowed certain AEW stars to appear on WWE programming. Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, Paul White, you'll remember appearing via video package on the June 2022 episode, which was celebrating John Cena's 20th anniversary. And of course, Billy Gunn was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as part of D-Generation X as well. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. Yeah. But Tony Khan, a man who obviously respects Sting so much, I can't imagine that he would say no to this.
Yeah, me neither. Part of me, like, a little bit thought maybe, like, with all the stuff that's happened recently in terms of contracts and maybe people wanting to go over to WWE once again, maybe it might cause a little bit of a I don't know, some kind of not complication, but maybe Tony being a bit more sort of picking and choosing moments. But for something like this, I think absolutely, but especially two people who are ingrained in wrestling history and ingrained within that history because of their feuds and their partnerships and stuff like that too.
This is what I'm thinking. What if this is all a big bloody ruse and Lex turns on Sting again? Imagine Tony lending Sting out and then Lex does Lex things. Just putting it out there.
Runs him over with the Lex Express.
Exactly. And we finish off with the news that a WWE star has been announced for a major indie show. We are talking about Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 13. Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight, has been announced for this. He couldn't get a better guy. If you're picking somebody off the WWE roster for a show like this, I think Pete Dunne's such a great get. He tweeted, "A strong-style Englishman from the tough industrial city of Birmingham. He has no problem trading blows or submission holds. Wherever the fight goes." It's like Dr. Seuss, this, isn't it? This Bruiserweight wrestler is up for it. He is joining some big names on the show, including...
Gabe Kidd, my goodness, one of my favourites. Gabe Kidd, we got Simon Gotch, Timothy Thatcher, Layla Hirsch, and the hardest hitter of all, Natalya, is going to be there too.
I can't wait. The Natalya, like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for Pete Dunne being there.
Yeah.
The Natalya thing I think is really curious because she's somebody who's been quite outspoken about the fact that she wants to do more. She really wants more opportunity. She's had a lot of opportunity, obviously, but she is sporadically used on WWE TV.
Yes.
And I think she's going to go balls to the wall.
I think she will as well. Because we had Shayna Baszler turn up at one of these events as well. And again, like, I think you can tell they're excited to let loose a little bit and get to do something a little bit more gritty, I guess. And Pete Dunne, as mentioned there, is like, as you mentioned, is a perfect fit for that too. So I'm excited to see what he does. Because again, I feel like he's kind of like underutilized at the moment on WWE TV.
Bafflingly so, because
he's a Triple H dude, right?
He really is. I expected him and Tyler Bate especially, I expected to be like upper mid card, if not sort of cheering on the world title scene by this point in their careers. I've proven wrong massively.
Well, I mean, maybe when Tyler comes back from injury, they're back in the tag team title picture together or something, which would be nice because they had a banger at that Elimination Chamber. I believe it was against Judgment Day 2023 when it was in Perth.
Oh, yeah.
2024, 23, one of the two. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a banger match, and I thought, oh man, that's them set now. They're going to do some good things, and then stuff's happened, but
they never fail to impress in the ring. I just expected them to be, hey, the Tyler Bate's still only 12.
He is still only 12 years old.
Right, we'll be back with more news this afternoon. Thank you very, very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in a bit.